It's not every day that we get new information directly from the pen or typewriter of J.R.R. Tolkien, but recently we got just that, in the form of a newly unearthed letter written by the professor 60 years ago. And in it, he outright answers a burning question fans have had about rumored Ents in the Shire. And what's potentially even more interesting, based on another unpublished letter, this is a topic where Tolkien apparently changed his mind. Today on Nerd of the Rings, we cover the Ents of the Shire. The origin of this intriguing question comes early in the Fellowship of the Ring, when Samwise Gamgee brings up the Tree Men, giant creatures that hobbits had reportedly seen up beyond the North Moors of the Shire. When Sam is pushed by Ted Sandyman for who had claimed to have seen such a thing, Sam says his cousin Hal had seen one. Halfast Gamgee was employed by a Mr. Boffin at Overhill and would go up to the North Farthing for hunting, and there he claimed to have seen a walking tree. Sam says it was as big as an elm tree, and each stride was 21 feet long. Not only is this notable because of the fact that a tree was walking, but also the fact that elm trees do not grow on the North Moors. Sandyman is unconvinced, and the conversation turns to other strange folk traveling through the Shire. But the hobbits would go on to have an encounter with Old Man Willow in the Old Forest, revealing at least that there were sentient trees indeed in this region of the world. But as readers would discover in 1954's The Two Towers, walking and even talking trees are a very real thing in Middle-earth, as Merry and Pippin encounter Treebeard and his fellow Ents. After The Return of the King and its attached appendices being published the following year, readers would have no further evidence to confirm or deny Ents being in the Shire. But this all changed mere days ago, with the reveal of an unpublished letter from Tolkien to a fan. Dated February 28, 1966, Tolkien writes to Jenny Hall. First, he comments on Crickhallow's name resembling Crickhowl in Wales. Then he says, regarding the topic at hand, the walking elms were meant to be Ents, but not entwives. Gandalf had asked one or two of them to keep a watch on the Shire, but he did not tell anybody about it. So now, remarkably, 60 years later, we have from Tolkien himself confirmation that the walking elms were not only real, but they were indeed Ents. Notably, he says they are not entwives, so he remains consistent in saying what happened to the entwives is a mystery. Furthermore, he says Gandalf not only knew of these Ents, but he knew them, for he had asked them to keep an eye on the Shire, much like he does with the Rangers. But Tolkien doesn't end there. He adds a handwritten footnote to his letter where he says, as can be gathered from Treebeard's conversations with Merry and Pippin, he knew a lot more about events than they guessed, and more about hobbits than he pretended to. This is quite a big development as well. As Tolkien says, we know as readers that Treebeard is an ancient being, and understandably he would know a lot about the world, and indeed more than he is likely sharing with Merry and Pippin. However, this seems to indicate Treebeard is much more informed than most fans likely would have ever guessed. That this isolated leader of Ents would be aware of the Shire and have some of his own people stationed there is quite the development. And as with so many answers in Middle-earth, it spawns more questions. How long have these Ents lived in the North Farthing? Would they have been around when Bullroarer Took fought orcs in the Battle of Greenfields? Or could these few Ents always have lived there? Early in the Second Age, forests stretched all across Eriador, connecting even to what we later know as Fangorn Forest. Could these Ents have remained in these smaller woods through thousands of years, which saw the vast deforestation of Middle-earth? And most intriguing of all, is there some way that they stay in contact with Treebeard? These are all great questions we now get to ask now that we know Ents indeed lived in the Shire. But as I alluded to earlier, this letter is also greatly notable because it represents a change in Tolkien's stance on the Shire elves being Ents. For there is another letter, one sent 2 years before this one on the exact date, February 28th, 1964. While also unpublished, this is one we were previously aware of. Thanks to the incredible resource that is the Guide to Tolkien's Letters, we have a summary of what this letter entails. Tolkien answers a question about what Howe saw on the North Moors. Tolkien does not think it was an entwife, but likely a troll. Here we find Tolkien hypothesizing with the recipient, James Heath, that Howe may have seen a troll. Notably, it seems Heath may have asked specifically about the entwives, and Tolkien seems uncertain what he actually saw, though he remains consistent on it not being an entwife. This further proves what we've known for some time. Tolkien was always considering and reconsidering things happening in the ancient history of Middle-earth, or in this case, mysteries on the periphery of the Lord of the Rings. As for this newly uncovered letter, it's making news not only because of its contents, but because it's actually going up for auction. I tend to loosely follow things like first editions, signed books, or letters of Tolkien that go up for sale like this, and I'm very curious to see what this will end up fetching. The website estimates this to go for £5,000 to £7,000, or somewhere around $6,500 to $10,000 US. But judging by other Tolkien auctions I've seen in recent years, I think this will go for much more than that. But I want to open this up for discussion in the comments. What do you think of this news of Ents confirmed living in the Shire? And also, what's your prediction for how much this new Tolkien letter will sell for? And if you're interested, check out the Guide to Tolkien's Letters. It's a really great resource and never fails to make me wish we'd get a volume 2 of Tolkien's letters published. There's some really interesting ones that we still haven't seen. As always, I want to say a huge thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube supporters who make this channel possible. CCDC Red Team, Evil Chameleon, Tom DeBombadil 19, Listen Me the Cinda, Rabbi Rob Thomas, Charles Leisure, Joe Tepper, The Mighty Mim, Andrew Carlisle, Swirled Traveler, Matthew Jeffrey, Viking Lord, Alvin Einbert, Jeremy Daniel Derby, Madame Director, Freya Firestar, Chris and Meg Q, Jason Cummings, Leo Vittori, Sky Carcass, Slide Belts, Dane Ragnarsson, Berto Berg, Graham Derricott, The Dark-Haired One, Wyland, Kiara Berlin, Z and N, Evely, Kia, Landry Quinn Walker, Ice Glazer, Levi Olden, The Last Valorakar, and Kalasor, Micah Wu, and Debbie. If you enjoyed the artwork in this video, check out the artists in the description to purchase prints of their great work for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.